Hey guys, my name is Dhirsha and I hope everyone is doing well and getting their life. And I know it's been a long time since I haven't uploaded any sort of informative content in regards to international students coming here at the University of Newcastle or the city of Newcastle for their future studies. So finally got time and I came up with new content and I hope you guys gonna like it, because in this video I'm gonna talk about what are the legal documentations or the things you should be applying in your very first week of arrival in Australia or maybe in Newcastle City. More specifically, I'm gonna talk about legal documentation like photo ID card, driver license, or TFN numbers like tax file number. There are more couple of things which international students should be aware of for coming to Australia so that they don't waste their time and they can apply these sort of documentations which can help them in their future processes. So without any hesitation and delay, let's get started. So very first thing I would like to recommend international students when they arrive or landed at the Sydney airport is that buy an travel pass. Travel pass, very well known as Opal card here in Australia. So Opal card can be used to access public transportation service here in Australia. So that means you can use Opal card to access bus services, tram services and train services, more specifically if you're traveling from Sydney to Newcastle City. So what you gotta do once you landed at the Sydney airport, you gotta travel to nearest train station or maybe nearest convenience store. You can buy that Opal card using your Forex card or whatever payment card you got, and you need to reach out that card for a minimum amount that is going to be maybe $20 or $30. So once you get that Opal card, you can use that Opal card to catch a train from Sydney to Central Station to Newcastle Station. From Newcastle City, you can do Uber or you can use bus service to travel at your desired destination. That's the one thing I would recommend international students to do at their very first week or first day of arrival in Australia. So you're gonna use that Opal card in your daily life a lot to travel different places like universities or at your workplace. So that's the one thing. The second thing, I would recommend international students to buy a SIM card or activate their cellular data here in Australia. So you can buy a SIM card from very first day, just showing your identity proof, that is your passport, from maybe the Sydney airport. There are going to be a lot of shops there, or maybe you can buy it later on in any shopping center or convenience store at your nearest location. So there are multiple SIM providers like Vodafone or Optus or Telstra. You can go with any service provider based on your requirements, and I would not recommend you guys to buy a very expensive plan at an initial start. Just go with the normal $40 plan, which will give you some sort of maybe 40 GB data per month, and you don't gonna need that much of internet truly speaking, because you're gonna find internet at every single place wherever you travel. So buying a SIM card, that's another thing or an important thing for an international student. So the third most important and significant thing which I recommend an international student to do is that apply for TFN number, which is very well known as tax file number here in Australia. So this tax file number is an unique identification tax file number for each individual living here in Australia, which is used to pay taxes to government. So this TFN number is going to be one of a significant thing for an international student to apply, because without it, you can't apply for jobs. Because seeking for a part-time and full-time job, your employer gonna ask for a TFN number, and that TFN number is going to be your unique identification number, which you're gonna get it from ATO website. So it is done by online process. So you need to go to ATO website, Australian Taxation Office website, and you have to fill form for TFN number, where they're gonna ask for your proof of identity and many more couple of questions. Once you do that, you're gonna get your tax file number, and which you can use it in terms of applying jobs. And be careful, don't share this information, this tax file number, with any random people. Only share it with your banks or maybe your employer, because no one else gonna ask for this tax file number, and there is possibility that someone can do some sort of fraud with the taxes with your personal TFN number. So once you arrived in Australia, in your very first, second or third day, just apply for that TFN number. That's gonna take a little bit of time to you to get a TFN number. So if you get a chance, apply for it as soon as possible. that's the really important thing. So next thing, I would recommend international student to apply for an photo ID card. So what is photo ID card? Photo ID card is the identity card which displays your identity, like date of birth, your residential address, and your photo. So what happens once a national student arrive in Australia, they don't have any solid proof of address, Australian address. So that's a key thing, because whenever you like to buy something or you want to get entry into one of maybe hotels or maybe pubs, so you need some sort of identification card. You don't gonna take your passport everywhere, right? So to overcome these sort of problems, you can apply for a photo ID card. And it's a really easy process to apply for it. You just gotta go to nearest Newcastle service centers around you, and you need to fill a form, and you have to show your passport, and you have to tell them like where you actually living at this moment, and that is going to be your residential address. And you're gonna get your photo ID card just by paying $60 or maybe $61, whatever the price it is, and take approximately 8 to 10 days to come that photo ID card. So I think that's a really important thing which international student can do in their very first week of Australia. So then after that, I would recommend you guys to open a bank account. So opening a bank account is a very easy process. You just gotta meet 100 points of verification. When I say verification, that means you need to submit few documents which proves your identity. For example, your passport, travel license, or photo ID card and birth certificate. Those documents gonna help you to achieve 100 points, and you can open your bank account in any bank in Australia. There are a number of banks like Commonwealth Bank, ANZ Bank, and NAB. It's nothing like that the bank is going to give you any sort of benefits if you are a student. So once you open your bank account, you can deposit all of your money into that, and you can use it to do international transactions. So that's one key thing. Then it comes orientation week. That is going to be your first week or maybe second week of so in your orientation week, you're gonna get your student ID card, and student ID card is one of the best thing, I think, because you can use that student ID card to get discounts from online stores or maybe some electronic shops as well, so where you can buy laptops or phones, and you're gonna get discounts from just showing that student ID card or just giving the details of that card. Because I have used that card in a lot of places. For example, my using it for my Apple Music, which costs around $13, but if I'm a student, it's gonna cost me almost $5 or $6. That's a really good thing. Or you can get student discounts on mobile plans as well. If you're thinking to buy expensive phone like iPhones, you're gonna get like $10 discount from student ID card. So that's a good thing. Next steps comes, that is driver license. So if you want to drive in Australia, you need to apply for Australian license. So there are some rules and regulations. If you're currently holding overseas license and you arrived in Australia on a specific date, from that date to next 6 months, you can drive on your overseas license. But in that period of time, you have to apply for Australian full license. So what you gotta do, you gotta book a DKT test, that is known as driver knowledge test. You can book it online from New South Wales Services website, or you can book it from nearest New South Wales service centers around you. So DKT test is a kind of a computer-based test. It's a general knowledge driving test. Once you clear that test, it's going to be, I think it will cost around you $60 for that test, 60 or 50 or $60. Then once you clear that DKT test, you have to book for a full license test, and that's the same fees, around $60, I think. So once you book that test, so you need to give full driving license test, and if you pass in your driving license test, you're gonna get a full Australian license. However, if you don't pass the test, you're gonna be failed, and you're gonna get an L. That is your learning license, and on that license you can't drive alone. You need a full license driver with you. So these are the things which I wanted to recommend an international student to do in their first week of arrival in Australia, or maybe first couple of weeks, because these are necessary things which an international student requires in their daily life. So I think rather than wasting time in their first or second week, they can start applying these documents. Okay, so that was all in this video, and I'm looking forward to shoot some content based on real-time experience of international students here at the University of Newcastle, and we'll be posting very soon. Until then, stay tuned, and if you like the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you're coming to University of Newcastle or the city of Newcastle, don't forget to say hi to me. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a good future here in Newcastle City or at the University of Newcastle, or maybe back in India. Till then, stay happy, be strong, and I'll see you guys very soon.